Right. So on the flip side, what would you say are some of the pleasant surprises that you have encountered along the way?
I would say my number one surprise was how well and how fast this took off. I think you and I both know that Toronto's kind of known to be the screw face capital, right? Um, and so not only was I nervous about, taking a huge leap of faith, but also knowing that I'm doing so in a city where we're known to not really support local artists, for instance, and so on and so forth. Um, but it was just such a blessing. Like it took off way faster than I ever imagined. The response was amazing from the community. And again, even to this day, like we're going on 4 years, and not every business has an opportunity to make it into their fourth year. You know what I mean?
That is true.
It's just been such that for me it's been very overwhelming. The positive feedback and the positive vibrations that I get from the community and people wanting to help to build me up, and I will be the first person that'll try to build others up because I know how crucial that was to me when I first started off and how crucial it is to me even to this day. And then also just to know that it's not something that only people of color are into, but that there's general interest from all sorts of communities, and that the clothing presents an opportunity for a teachable moment, right? Whether it be about the print and what it's called back home, or what design they're looking for. Oh, you work with women, in Kenya that are HIV positive. What exactly is this HIV thing? And just to be able to have the opportunity to learn, but also to grow and to be able to teach has been fantastic.
Awesome. So you just touched on something I'm going to ask you about here now. So for your designs, your clothing, your dresses, what would you say the demographical breakdown would be of your customers? Who a typical customer look like, and what a non-typical? Because you say you've been embraced by the community, but how much outside the community have you been able to penetrate?
So I would actually venture out and say that majority or some of my most loyal clients are actually from outside of the continent. Um,
When you say outside the continent, you mean outside of the traditional black community. Is that what you're saying?
no, I
No,
mean like Africans
are
outside.
non-traditional Africans.
Yeah, so no, some of them they're still African diasporic or descendants, but Caribbean,
Okay.
as well as Caucasian women. There are a lot of white women who I have one client who's just amazing. When she works out in Qatar, but lives in Sudbury and is of Italian descent. And she's one of my most loyal clients. Like every Christmas, I know she's gonna order something. And I have people out in Qatar asking about this, and I think the to be honest, at the end of the day, the Mina Danielle woman is anybody that wants to be seen, wants to be heard, is bold, or even flirts with the idea of being able to be, kind of, how would I say this? Yeah, just to be seen. They are not afraid of color. They're not afraid to say, here I am, I've arrived. And so usually anywhere from majority of our clients are 23 and up, I would say. 23 and up would be those who have
The
access
typical
to
client.
money. Yeah, they
Okay.
have access to money. They're able to purchase the clothing. We do work with some younger demographics. And, for instance, like I will sometimes, depending on the event, maybe reduce the items or have sale it on marked down for particular events, depending on where it is I'm working. But the Mina Danielle woman is usually a working woman. She has a job. She does have access to be able to purchase the clothing, but she's looking to stand out. That's what she's looking to do. She knows that by putting on one of the clothing, she can't really hide out in a crowd.
Because your prints are bold.
Yeah, they're very bold. They're very bright. We do some things that are neutral, but for the most part, it's all very, very bright. And that's what I hear. I want to look different. I'm tired of wearing the same thing. I'm tired of looking like everybody else, right? I don't want to look like I just came out of H&M. And that's how I started. And so when I make these clothing, I initially started this because I went home to Ghana and had the opportunity to look and feel how I wanted to. And that is the Mina Danielle woman.
Being a woman and being an entrepreneur, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about entering in the fashion industry or being an entrepreneur in general? What type of advice would you?
So as I was saying, one of the advice I would give would be to have passion. Like, you have to have some sort of passion for what it is that you're doing. I think I usually will equate it to a relationship. I think a lot of people will say, oh, I love the person that I'm with. But my thing is, but do you like them? And it seems like common sense, right? Obviously, if you like somebody, if you love somebody, then you like them. But I don't always think that's the case. I don't think a lot of people generally like people that they're with, and it's the same thing. You have to like what it is that you're doing. You have to have that passion, because when the challenges come and the obstacles are all mounting, and there's the late nights and you're not sleeping, there has to be something that's driving you. There has to be something that's motivating you to continue with it. And so that would be one of the first things. And risk. You have to be willing to take a risk. To be honest with you, if you asked me when I first started, where do I see myself in 5 years? I have my short-term and long-term goals. There's things that I set, for my 5-year mark that I was able to achieve in my third year. And I would never, not to say I'm discrediting myself, but I think at the same time, there's certain risks that I've had to take and understand that I don't know where it's going. But I'm going to trust that this is something I want bad enough. This is something that I believe. I think you and I have had a conversation about branding, right? And I think for me, this is me. This is my brand. It's something that I believe. I wouldn't be able to sell something that I A, didn't love, and B, that I didn't believe in. And so those are my two big things. Make sure that there's passion. Make sure that you're able to take a risk, and also be open to say, I don't know. Be open to learning, and financial literacy. I think there's so many of us who will get into something not really aware of the ramifications financially, and we won't be able to thrive or sustain the businesses. And I think that's something I definitely, even to this day, I'm still learning, right? What's my margin, profit, all of everything. How do we build each other up? Who can we turn to for different resources, right? So if I know, I have days where I'm on Excel and I'm looking at the spreadsheet and I want to pull my hair out, but I know who it is I can call to, help me with something, and so on and so forth. So those would be the top 3 that I have for you.
In closing, I want to ask you, give me your elevator pitch. What is Mina Danielle in 30 seconds?
So Mina Danielle Designs is an afrocentric clothing line that works, again, with all sorts of prints from the continent. We work with dynamic women as well, too, from Africa, Kenya, and Ghana, in making sure that the modern woman is able to represent the continent, who she is, and do so in a way that's bold and authentic to her.
Excellent. And where can we find you?
So you can find us in the social media world. We're on Facebook at Mina Danielle Designs. So that's MINADANIELLE Designs. On Twitter at Mina Danielle, and also on Instagram at Mina Danielle. And our website is www.minadanielle.com. And you can also reach us via email at Mina Danielle Designs at gmail.com.
That was the first in our interview series. Please give us your feedback. We would love to hear from you. You could email me directly at delmiller@blackbizpro.com. Please follow us on Twitter at blackbizpro.com and like us on Facebook. Tell your friends. And if there's anyone you would like for us to interview, please email me directly and we would love to have a chat.